For my classroom, for my assessment demonstration, I've decided to look at communicative competence. Part of the reason why I wanted to look at communicative competence is because communicative language teaching is so prevalent in classroom that I thought it would be interesting to have a summative assessment that looks at students' communicative competence. In my particular case, the students are A1 Common European Framework Reference Level students. They were given about 30 minutes writing preparation time with about, it ended up being a 10 minutes revision because they were stuck on how to correctly phrase a meeting time and date. And then it's followed by a 5 minutes oral presentation, and the peer discussion ended up being only about 5 or 10 minutes. They were told to prepare an oral presentation of classroom topic, which is going to be followed by a peer discussion. We had covered present tense, we cover past tense and future tense, as well as greetings, free time activities, food, nationalities, professions, and workplace, and childhood and daily routine. Now, since this is a communicative competence evaluation, I've decided that this scale would be more appropriate because it places a very heavy emphasis on the interaction that the students have with one another. And it also has to do with the participation in the group discussion, the collaborativeness of the preparation as well as the presentation. And in the group discussion, the oral performance of that. The written material is basically focusing on the accuracy part of the grammar part of communicative competence. So in the video that you're about to watch, the students were basically in the beginning they were given a project. They were preparing for it. It's followed by me returning their written material, and I just marked the location of their error without any comments as to how to fix it. So you're going to see a large part of it is how they are in the process of fixing their error. And then that's followed by their discussions and their presentation, and that's followed by their discussion. So here we go.
Hello. Hi. Hello, guys. Hello, guys.
she put the eggs and she
Any ideas?
car.
Because you have.
We
What are we gonna do this weekend?
What do you want?
What
What are
Or-
you going to do?
What you going to do this weekend? You are only why are you going is future. Then
I
to
know.
switch. I mean,
What time going to be?
yes.
What time going to be in the future?
No,
No, in the future.
you need the go to live.
Going to be when you say that in the future. No. Because I wrote what time is it? As is now, but it's in the future.
What time going to be? What time we are going to What time going to be? What? You know, at what time? We going to That's what time going to be.
What time will be?
No, it means
Will be. I think no.
that's it. That's we are going to.
We know because it's the time now.
What time going to be? Okay, so guys. It is where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going?
When is the time?
Where are you going?
Because it's the time.
Exactly.
Nowhere.
No, when. Where are you going? Why not?
You can use that.
No, that no. The day.
No, because what time are we going to be? At 2 p.m. on Sunday.
For me, it's better. Only time.
And when?
When? What time? What time going to be? What time and when? Going to be? When going to be? No.
Another question.
It's
for
not
you.
What question?
What time going to be and
No, only when. Only when. For example, the first question is what time going to be and when? When? You understand me?
No, the first question is when, no time because you
No. In the time.
wait for the time.
You know answer.
Hello.
The when.
Miss
Time.
Lee.
What time?
Because you
going
think
to
in the
when? What time going to be?
then you think in
You
the
understand?
I understand, but
you can use when?
Only when.
when
What time going to be? When? Two question. What time going to be? And
two question to
when?
answer.
Exactly. What are we gonna go this week? What are we gonna go this week?
I don't know. I don't have an idea.
Oh, I think we can go to Switzerland. What do you think, guys?
That's fair. Yes.
Thank you.
Hello. Hello, guys. How are you? Fine.
What are you going to do this weekend?
We're gonna do gonna go to from. What do you like to go with us? Yes, that's a great idea. I love ice cream.
When you said gonna be and what time?
On Sunday at 3 p.m.
It's okay. Yes, it's better.
Okay, guys, see you soon.
Bye.
Assessment. Yeah. So let me just record the question so that way you guys, okay. So the question is, if I were to give this type of assessment for your final instead of writing on paper, how would you feel? Do you like the idea of making a project, presenting it in class, and have your classmate assess your performance? Or do you rather have pen and paper and see if you can answer the things correctly? Okay?
I like this project because it was more easy and no like a battle. Like a battle because in this project we can express and speak and the teacher can look how we speak and in the evaluation writing she can see how we write.
For me, it's better because when you know other language, it's better not only writing. So, first practice and the second writing because you writing you use translation.
You can be good in writing, but
Exactly.
in speak,
It's more difficult.
yeah.
Because you need more practice in real life. You need to speak with some people. But in real life, you don't have time for write and speak. You speak fast.
In real life, we need to speak more than write.
Yeah.
I use translation.
I think it's more important because in the real life you speak for more time, for a long time. You need to speak well because the person speak good, the person will understand it.
I think Jamie though prefer the writing, right?
It is better because we can practice more and we can talk speak how we can. Yeah.
But you earlier you said you prefer the writing test
No, I
than this
prefer
type.
performance.
Performance for your evaluation? Yeah. And Catherine?
I prefer presentation, the team, than writing. I think the presentation, the topic is writing the speak in English. The write is the practice grammar, but no practice speak very much. Speak is more important than write.
Okay. So what do you think, like, if you were to do this, like what would help? Because in this one, I didn't really have. Do you feel like I need to make this better? This still is not like. Is there something you don't like about this evaluation? Like, how would you suggest I change this? Any ideas? Yeah. If like what can I do to make this better? Be more specific, or have like rules, or this is fine.
It's fine. It's fine. But we practice other thing or specific things. So for me, it's fine.
I think to you do the both things, the writing and the speak, you can do the evaluation like a little bit test, like a 5 question. It's like it's the evaluation of the other people, but you know.
Like if you understand what would the other person saying, and
But you're right, and we.
okay. So in terms of a questions, like okay, great idea. Any other ones? No? Okay. Thank you so. So from this chart is basically of the written assessment. Basically, I have the group writing during that process, if they had contributed to the group or not, and the quality of the contribution. This here is basically the written the written material that they've given me after the first draft with their, and then and here is where I derive most of this assessment from the comments that they wrote to one another. Originally, I wanted to do it individually, but they decided to do a group effort. So the only material I have to assess them individually was in the comment and their own peer assessment that they had to write up for each other. And this chart is basically the fluency, so the flow of the entire conversation during the preparation as well as the presentation and the peer discussion. So this is how the flow of their speech, the comprehensiveness of their speech, their body language, the pronunciation, and the strategies that they use throughout the entire process. And this is my scale for that. This chart is basically the relevancy of the communication. So here I basically took from their comment that they wrote for one another and how repetitive it was, or like the quality, if they use different type of vocabularies or the same word for everyone. And then this is derived from watching their preparation as well as their involvement in the whole entire project. So this is more of an oral relevancy. And this is the peer discussion relevancy. And in this chart, it's basically peer assessment. I have self here, but since one of the student, Jamie, didn't rate herself, I thought it was more appropriate to remove that from this chart. And from those charts, I basically have this summative of how they perform. And I thought it was kind of like relevant because, as you can see from the peer assessment, it kind of goes along with my own assessment during the entire process, as well as the accuracy of their production. So, because of this, these people were consistently rated lower. So I thought it was kind of relevant. It was reliable. And as far as it's valid, I think the scale reflects the validity of this, meaning it reflects the communicative competence of the students. And I find it to be a very authentic assessment. As far as practicality, it wasn't very practical. Perhaps because it's my first run, so I could later on maybe find a more time efficient way of assessing these students. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching.